Hi, it's Kareem from Keeper's Nursery. Today is the 14th of October 2025 and I'm making a video on apples again. Basically, I'm just going to go through and try out basically the better apples this year. I'm not going to try every single apple, just to talk about the better ones. It's been a very, very, very good apple year. Lots of apples are performing sort of that extra 10%, in terms of flavour. I've done several tours of the nursery, so I've already done 3. There's a 4th one coming up this weekend. They're basically supposed to be 2-hour tours. It turns into sort of 3.5-hour tours. Just basically trying all the apples there are. I think people really like them. Some people even came from Holland, which was really nice. I'm enjoying talking to people about it. But yeah, it's not what I can do every single day because I've got the trees to deal with as well. So yeah, it's a bit spitty today, but I thought I'd just do this video anyway. There's no wind, so away we go. I'm gonna start with my favorite apples basically for this time of the year. There's quite a few, so it's not gonna be a short video. So this is first one. We're just going in order. This is Crimson Crisp. It's, in terms of flavor, not exceptional, but it's crimson and it's crisp. I've talked about it before. It's one of these American ones that we've got here, like Gold Rush here. This isn't quite right. This one's actually quite a good apple, I think, in my opinion. The apple isn't quite ripe yet, so I'm not going to pick that one either. But this is one that's ripe. Hooray. So I very much like John Gold. I think it's a solid apple. People are generally quite happy with it. It's quite large, very sort of juicy. So you get lots and lots of juice when you bite this, and you chew and you chew. You keep getting more juice. I mean, to be sort of critical of it, it's a bit like a Braeburn in terms of flavour, but nicer, like a supermarket Braeburn, but nicer in many, many ways. And just juicier. But at the end of the day, it's not a Cox's Orange Pippin, but most people like this. I think it could ripen a bit more. You can see lots of them are still a bit green up there, but generally it crops quite well each year. It's a reliable apple to have. This is the Queen Cox. So some of the Coxes have actually been quite good this year. The Cox classic sort of calyx on the Cox sort of sticks out like that. So you can see that's the way the flower should be, and these are the sort of the ovaries that are swollen, the inferior ovaries. And you can see even some sort of stamens and stuff in there. Very pretty apple Coxes. Lovely, lovely flavour to that. It's not the most acidic Cox. Very floral. Borderline a bit. You get these sort of red apples that are on the borderline of being a little bit tasteless sometimes. So if you... which sometimes is just because they're undersized. So I've got the scrumptious tree around here. This is the scrumptious tree. Lots of scrumptiouses. So I know, for example, this apple is going to be completely tasteless. When you start getting a bit of russeting or colour on them, so this will actually be quite a good scrumptious. I don't know if it's supposed to be russeted, but as in, I don't think that's what they normally are like. Pleasant enough apple, that's quite tasteless. The larger ones are nicer. The Cox, sometimes you can go searching for the flavour. So the Cox's Orange Pippin has got a nicer flavour than the Queen Cox. So with something like a self-fertile Cox or a Flanders Cox, Queen Cox, sometimes the flavour is just it's just diluted a little bit. You could say they're prettier because they're redder. Obviously, these are sort of red sports, but generally speaking, when something is a redder sport of something, the flavor profile is actually the thing that is sort of lost. It's not that it's redder and better, it's a mutation. That's what a sport is. So it's not a redder mutation that's also better in other ways. Generally speaking, they pick the mutation that's redder just because it's redder, and they kind of sort of sacrifice the fact that it's, well, you know, they sort of like, well, it doesn't taste as good. It's a bit of a compromise, but it's redder, so people will buy it, and you know they'll accept that. It's the same with a lot of the Coxes. They are still very nice though. None of them will have the exceptional crispy flavor, crispy texture that you might be after. But that's just an observation. These are the Granny Smiths that are starting to go red, which is quite pretty actually when they get the spots on them. Lots and lots of apples. So this is red Falstaff down here. That's a post. This is red Falstaff. It's a nice apple. It's very crisp. Very nice juice that comes all the way through, so it's not constantly you're getting more and more juice as you chew this. A lot of what I talk about with apples now is the whole experience of eating an apple, because where I've been breeding apples, I have to be very critical of apples. You have to, like one of these wine snobs, you have to really sort of think about the whole flavor. There's plenty of wine that's good and there's plenty of wine that's bad. How do you say one is better than the other? It's the same with apples. There are apples that are pleasant to eat, but how am I actually going to describe the fact that this is, you know, what makes this apple good? You have to think quite hard. I'd say this is quite dense, so it's not light. I prefer a slightly lighter apple to this in terms of the texture. So this does feel like quite a solid. It's not quite a piece of wood like Jazz, but it's solid, which is good because that means it will survive storage a little bit and picking. It's not going to bruise when it hits, when you pick it and you sort of drop it amongst other apples. I think that's obviously good. I like the long stalk as well. It's very pretty. But what I mean is when you chew it, you get the juice, and you chew a bit more of the flesh, you get the juice. That isn't a given with all apples. Certainly with the ones I've been breeding, that's something you can mark apples down on. This one's very good. So I do like red Falstaff. Falstaff itself is very good as well. Which one is better? Actually, let me keep that, and then I will test it against the other one. Pixie probably isn't ripe. So again, this is one of the Coxes. You can see again that lovely calyx at the top. I don't think this is going to be ripe, but very, very, very nice. Isn't quite ripe, but this is much nicer than it was last year. It was a little bit tasteless last year. So things like this are actually really good this year. I will come back to this in a month's time. It will still be good at the end of November, probably middle of November. Tideman's Late Orange. Now, this never produces exceptional fruits. Obviously overcropped, which is on me. Is it going to be really nice or not? It's a pretty apple. There's a woodlouse. I'm not going to eat you, mate. You can see everything's all dripping wet because it's just one of these sort of foggy mornings. Nice Cox flavour. There is something about this apple that's slightly missing. It is good. It's just not. I would say this, if I'd bred this apple, it's a solid 3. There is nothing wrong with the apple at all. It's just that it could be lighter in terms of the texture, slightly juicier. The flavor could go further. It could be, yeah. There's just a few things that you're sort of like, okay, I've tried better. But if you just gave this to someone, they'd say, this is great. This is lovely. It's got a lovely flavor to it. There are just other apples that take that flavor a little bit further. But it's a very nice apple for espaliering. If you want to espalier a tree, something like a Laxton Superb or a Tideman's Late Orange, it's such a branchy, it has such a branchy habit that within a few years you could have a 3 or 4 tier espalier very easily. Whereas if you tried to do that with something like, I don't know, a Red Windsor or a Bramley or various other varieties, basically the Cox ones do it very easily, but especially Tideman's Late Orange and Laxton Superb, maybe Adam's Pearmain as well, and a few others. See the Braeburn or Golden Delicious. One, that's probably Braeburn. They just branch, so you'll have it within a few years. I've even thought that Saturn was quite good this year. Saturn is a very pretty apple. I mean, look at that. That is something that I can just, you know, if I showed someone these apples, they'd say that that's a beautiful apple. It's got that lovely conical shape to it. It's sometimes a bit boring, but it's juicy and the sweetness goes all the way through. Sometimes this can lack sugar. It has an initial flavor a bit like sweets, maybe a little bit like rhubarb and custard sweets, which is a nice thing. I'm saying it that's a good thing. It's a little bit pinky inside, which is unusual actually. It doesn't, I mean, it has been an exceptional year for these apples. And I said I'm not going to do all the apples. They're just a sort of a hot spot at the top here. Obviously, we planted these trees first. So that's why it's taking so long just to get through. Okay, so Spartan. Very pretty apple in terms of it being a dark apple with a lovely bloom. Don't wipe the blooms off, people. It's the dark purpley bloom that makes these apples look exceptional. This apple, I have to say, isn't one of my favorites. It's a little bit boring, but it's very pretty. The flavor just is very shallow. Talking of red sports, this is the John O'Go Red. So this is the red sport of John O'Gold, which we tried at the start. Is it nicer? It's still very good, but maybe not quite as nice. Pitmars and pineapple, these are going to be soft now and will have lost their acidity. As lots of apples ripen, they lose their acidity, which is basically, you don't think of that as a big deal. You think, well, we'll get sweeter. No, that's what's holding the flavor together, basically. That's doing a lot of the hard work, because without the acidity, the sweetness is quite a boring flavor. It's quite a offensive flavor at some level. So when apples over ripen, they do that. Also, they go soft. This is Sturma Pippin. That's not going to be ripe yet, but this apple, although it looks a bit boring, in November, maybe early December, that's going to be an exceptionally good apple, which is going to hold on to that acidity. Unfortunately, Shenandoah's overcropped this year, but let's pick some of the bigger ones. So if you've got an overcropped apple tree, pick the big example. They look slightly different to me, I can tell, but the bigger ones are going to be the good ones. All of these down here that are too small are going to lack any flavor, which is a shame. That's lovely. Very much like lychee actually this year. Very, very much like lychee. It's a very nice apple, Shenandoah. Very long calyx. Perfect apple. He says, throwing it on the floor. This is Freiburg. So this is one of my favorite apples. It doesn't really look like much, which is quite interesting, because I think people walk past this. Again, the little rubbish ones, don't pick them. Unfortunately, I've left a lot on. This is what they look like when they start getting the red flush as well, sort of a pinky flush. This one's very yellow, so it might be very ripe, but this again you can leave on the tree until November. Gorgeous flavor. So it's very crisp. Initially you get sort of a delay of nothing, and then suddenly bam, it hits you. The sweetness is very high, but there is a bit of acidity to make it pleasant, but you don't really sense the acidity either when you eat it. I'm just trying to give you a name for the flavor. I guess it's slightly pear dropsy. Yeah, I suppose it's slightly pear dropsy. I mean, kids' other apples that you bred, like Kids Orange Red, are pear dropsy. I've never thought of this as pear drops, but there is something. I'm going to hold on to this and try and figure it out. But yeah, Freiburg is an exceptional apple. I always recommend it to people. I think we've passed Nonpareil. Let's see if it's any good. This is Allen's Everlasting, which sometimes is all right as well. Not tried one yet this year, but you can see most of them are not ripe. This one is doing something. Not that interesting. Won't be ripe yet. Nonpareil is not going to be ripe yet either. You can try it though. So that's got the sort of tutti frutti flavour to it. Not quite ready yet, but that's very, very good apple. So moving on through, we've got another Cox here. So this, I believe, is self-fertile Cox. No, sorry, this isn't. My mistake. Let's go on. Where's self-fertile Cox? To be honest, the calyx didn't look quite right on that. I almost stopped myself from picking it. Okay, self-fertile Cox is right here. So these are self-fertile Coxes. Again, look at that. Very nice looking fruit. Again, slightly overcropping. I don't know if this is going to be an exceptionally well-flavoured one, but let's try. That is pleasant. It's missing the edge, slightly lack of maybe acidity. It's very floral, very nice. Obviously, it's quite useful because it is self-fertile, but I usually tell people, don't worry too much about it being self-fertile and, you know, what pollinator do I need? If you have a few apple trees, or even if you just graft a branch of something else onto your tree, you will not really need to worry about don't handcuff yourself to, I have to get something self-fertile. I have to get two things that are, group D pollination group. Most things are group D anyway. The pollination thing's only really a problem if you literally live in the middle of a city where there's no other apple trees, and you live somewhere where there's probably no apple trees around, or if you go for something like Blanc-Sœur or Feuille Morte or Médaille d'Or, one of these varieties that flowers way too late, and these things flower in June instead of sort of late April. Obviously there's no other blossom around then, but mostly you don't have to worry about pollination groups. This was good this year. So this is Fiesta. So this is again this is the Fiesta tree. Wow, these are big Fiestas. Are these definitely Fiestas? So Fiesta, again, it's a Cox. This is usually, it's a self-fertile Cox again. In my opinion, this apple is usually quite boring. This is a big one, actually. This year is one of these years where Fiesta and Sunset have been really good. And usually I think, well, they're kind of boring modern versions of Cox. No, this one's been good this year. That's really good. That is really good. That is much more like the Cox's Orange Pippin than the self-fertile Cox. This is, and you can see it's slightly larger as well, and it is prettier. Come on, it's got stripes. So that's Fiesta. The galas are galas. I think the galas are galas. I mean, look at that one. That was a very sort of half-coloured one. I haven't tried one yet this year. I mean, let's see. Some years they completely lack any sugar. That's actually much sweeter than usual this year. That's quite a pleasant apple, actually. I don't mind that at all. The galas are good this year. I don't actually let people try this on the tours that they do. I'm sort of like, we'll skip that. And you can imagine that's 20 minutes, and that's without me explaining much stuff. This little bit usually takes an hour, and people sort of look down there and think, blimey, we're going to be here for a while. And they're usually quite happy about it. They're glad. Good folk. Let's find an L-star. Look at that lovely leaf there. Wow. Okay, an L-star, this lovely big Dutch thing. Yeah, these are great apples. So immediately one of the things is very light and juicy apple. It's a much more pleasant eating experience in my opinion, because it's just lighter. There's less sort of chewing. It's sort of nice and floral. I'd say this one's slightly overripe because it's losing its acidity, but it's got the aroma still. Good apple. So over here we now have, ta-da, the Sunset. So Sunset's quite pretty, a bit like the Fiesta. It's a Cox's Orange Pippin seedling. It's got the striping. Bit more of a sunken sort of calyx because it's got this the I guess you call it the basin. This don't know how the colour's looking maybe on the screen, but it's a slightly more orangey apple, which is kind of glows a little bit, which is nice to see. That looks very much like a Cox, apart from, yeah, actually at the apex it doesn't. That one's gone soft. It did look very ripe. The flavour is very good on this one this year. So this one, let's try this one. That one's gone soft as well, but very, very nice flavour on that as well. So we've just missed that apple. Lazy old me. Oh, here's another Cox actually. So this is Flanders Cox. Let's go for this very red one. Again, you see it's the exact same. This is the nice Flanders Cox with a bit of dead leaf on it. Again, this is very similar to the other ones we tried. There is another Cox that we sometimes have. Queen Cox, Self-Fertile Cox, Flanders Cox, something else Cox we have as well. Oh, we've got a Cherry Cox, I suppose. I would say this one's better than Queen Cox. Probably better than Self-Fertile as well. There's a very, very nice apple. Very juicy as well. I think the two things that are good about that, it's got slightly more acidity. Definitely more than the Queen Cox. And it's slightly juicy as well. You keep getting more juice. Apples, apples, apples. Is George Carpenter's are very pretty. Not the best apple, but very pretty. So now we should try Egremont Russet. A few of them are still hanging around. Sorry, spider's web. So Egremont Russet, lots of them are on the floor now. They start to sort of glow at one stage. They don't really soften up too much. They sort of maintain a happy sort of nutty, kind of dry texture, which is very nice. That's very nice. So if you like something like a Pitmaster pineapple, it's very similar. They're all, some of these sweet russets are similar. This one, maybe not as sweet or as even acidic as a Pitmaster pineapple, which we didn't try anyway, but there is something pleasant about it. Although it doesn't have the acidity or the too much kick, there's just, so a lot of the time I was saying I really like the juicy one with, you know, really juicy apples, like I was saying with the Flanders Cox, where I like the acidity and the juiciness, so you keep getting more and more flavour. There's something about this where it's just sort of holds back a little bit, and you still get lots of flavor, you still get the flavour, but it's a little bit more discreet, which is quite nice, especially with the texture. It's a very nice sort of subtle flavour, which I suppose when it's got too much acidity, you know, that's just a smack, you know, fills your mouth with juice and flavour. This one, there's something about it that is just very, very pleasant. There are very few apples like this, so Egremont Russet is a winner, as always. Never wasn't a winner. This is the Fuji apple. This is probably the most grown apple in the world. Probably not exactly this one. There'll be a different clone, but I guess throughout China. I've not been, but if you Google it, mate, you'll see they're growing loads of it. There's a bird's nest. So this tree is one of the best apples. This tree produces one of the best apples. This is Ashmead's kernel. So when they start getting the red bits, so it's a russet again. It can look pretty ugly. I mean, I wouldn't say that's a stunning apple, but sometimes you get the little red bits poking through, or the orange bits poking through. Very good apple. I don't know if it's fully ripe yet. That has got some bizarre flavour coming through. So it's juicier than Egremont russet, slightly more acidity, but it's like some wild fizzy drink that someone's come up with, and it's the drink that you've never tried before. You know, when you go to like an off license or somewhere and there's a new flavour of a drink and you're like, what on earth have they cooked up here? And you just buy it anyway because, you know, you're young and you're impressionable, so you think it must be cool, and you try it and you think that was really, really cool, and you can never buy it again. This is that flavour. This is that really weird flavour that is actually really good, and it claims to be some sort of fruit, and you're like, no, it's not, but I still like it. Yeah, it is a marvellous apple. I'm glad it's good because I've been trying this every day and I've been like, oh, it's not quite ready. Oh, it's not quite ready. Why do I keep going on about Ashmead's kernel? Now it's ready and it's really, really, really good. In terms of texture as well, it's much lighter than an Egremont russet. Egremont russet, I'm saying, has its place and people like it. But this is like the fun cousin where it's just like, ooh, russets can actually be really, really sort of wild as well. But yeah, maybe not as pretty. Although with the red flush, I think it is good. So I will at some stage make a video about apple crumble, which is, I'm sure they have it in other countries. I think France has started adopting apple crumble. I sometimes use some of these apples in apple crumble. This variety is an American variety called Red Sauce. There's a few on the floor. This has gone really red. So Red Sauce is a very acidic red fleshed apple which was used for red saucing. I just use it in the apple crumble because basically it just makes the apple pinker. I tend to use, I'd say close to sort of 75% jumbo apples. They're the best in terms of flavour when cooked. Bramley is also very good, so I use Bramley as well. Bramley fluffs up much quicker than jumbo, slightly quicker than jumbo. It's just slightly more, it is acidic, and obviously I add sugar and cinnamon to the apple as well, but I think the flavour of jumbo when you cook it is actually nicer as a sauce than Bramley. Bramley is nice and it's acidic and very sort of memorable as a flavour, but jumbo is just slightly nicer as a flavour. No offence, Bramley, but obviously Bramley, because it fluffs up so quickly, is just so useful. Jumbo slightly nicer, so I put in more jumbo just to give it more flavour, and then I add a few of these. Here, I'll bite this just to show you. That one's gone soft. It's really acidic, which is good at fluff, but woof, that is cap out. And I'll do my crumble recipe as well. So the Worcesters are still here. These are Worcester pearmains, but they're going to be, yeah, they're going a bit soft. So this is the Falstaff. Again, pick a big one. What's going on? So that's the Falstaff, and if I fish into my pocket, not that one. That one. Oh, thanks for looking at my face. So there we've got the red Falstaff, the bigger one, and the Falstaff next to it. And you can see it's a slightly redder So this one, not all of these apples are ripe, to be fair. These are more what they should look like. But even then, you can see the red one on the left is slightly redder. No, beg your pardon. No, that's no. I've done this wrong. So the red full staff's actually this one, and the big one I'm holding is the regular full staff, which is this one. So swings and roundabouts. I mean, to be fair, this one was from the bottom of the tree. So let's try red again. So this didn't get full sun. So much denser than the things I've tried recently. Good juice all the way through, as I said. It's really not as nice an apple once you try Ashmead's kernel, but not many apples will be. My mouth's like, yeah, what was that? Was that an apple? Yeah, it was. Okay, let's try the regular full staff. Well, it's sweeter and lighter. It's much lighter. Let me try a smaller one. So again, this is just a regular full staff. Yeah, that one was less flavoured as well. So red full staff's actually nicer this year than the other one. I stand corrected. Sometimes the red ones perform better. So this wee apple down here is the apple on my t-shirt. Can I film this well? Let me do that. Ta-da! So this is, what am I doing? Am I upside down now? I think I am upside down. Yeah, I'm the right way up now. So this is Hamid's Red Pippin. Am I upside down or not? So I think I'm the right way around now. Gosh, this is annoying. Anyway, it's too late to... Yeah, I think I'm the right way up now. Sorry about all that. I doubt that many people actually watched the full video, maybe listening. So yeah, this is Hamid's Red Pippin. So this is the first apple that I named. This was named after my dad, who sadly never even tried it. But yeah, it's good this year. So I have had some issues with this apple, in that if it overcrops, which I've let some of the trees overcrop because I'm so excited to see my apple, it can become flavourless. So it looks nice and big and it's a bit flavourless. I've picked some of these off the tree about a month ago and they were very good and they were bigger and redder. The ones I've left on the tree still have the crispiness, which is very important, because if it was more like a Cox and you lose the crispiness, that's half the audience at least going like meh, meh, red button, like on no likey no lighty, that one, take me out. So the lights go off. This is still crisp. In terms of the flavor, it's very juicy and actually quite sweet, which is quite nice. A nice flavor to it as well. I prefer the Primrose Pippin, which we'll try later in the video, which isn't quite ripe, but this is a very good apple. It's competing against all the big boys right now. I wouldn't say it's any worse in any way than lots of them. It doesn't have the flavor of an Ashmead's kernel. It's not as good as a Norfolk Royal Russet. It doesn't have the full package like a Rubinet either, although it probably crops better than a Rubinet because Rubinet has a few issues. But it's up there and I'm really impressed with it. I'm pleased with it. It has had the odd year where on the one tree that I had at the time, it didn't crop very well. Like I said, it overcropped and they were a bit flavorless. But this year they're very good. It's been hit and miss on different trees, where some trees have performed better than others, but that's pretty normal for apples. So do buy a Hamid's Red Pippin. Here is a very honest advert from me. I'm not saying this is going to be the best apple ever in your opinion, but certainly people do like this apple that have tried it, and it's very pretty as well. I've sort of taken some around to people like Joan Morgan. I sent some to Jim Arbery as well. I haven't heard back from him yet, but I'll speak to him next week anyway. Or no, tomorrow. Blimey. But yeah, even like Joan said, it was very good. So if you think she's wrong, then shame on you, because she knows everything about apples. So anyway, that's Hamid's Red Pippin. I'm going to keep that in my pocket as well to give to my son, because his middle name is Hamid as well. Moving on, this is Meridian, which again is another Cox. And you can see, well, especially on that one, look at that. Blimey. It's a slightly later Cox. I like the acidity level. There's a long pause there. It's not as floral as the Cox's Orange Pippin, but very good. And it hangs around on the tree and is crisp and holds on to the acidity late into sort of late November, maybe even December. So I like Meridian. Gosh, what am I doing? My hands. So this, unfortunately, is one that's failed to do much this year. This is Red Windsor, or Red Alchemine. Good apple. It's just not banging this year. It's just, pardon me, well, that one's really good actually. Maybe it's just the dark ones that are really good. I wish it had slightly more acidity, but it is very juicy and sweet, and the juiciness is incredibly nice actually. This is the best one I've tried this year actually, so maybe some of them are banging, but some of them aren't. That was actually very good. I take back what I said. That was actually quite good. This is come on, where's a good one? I guess I'll have to pick. I'll pick that. That is Adam's Pearmain. A very unusual shaped apple because it's quite elongated. Sometimes they're called like pig's nose, and not this variety, but that shape. You know, people said stuff like that. Mean things, that's what they said. Pig nose. It's quite a nice apple. So it is, I'd say it could be juicier. It's a little bit dense. It is quite acidic. It hits you actually because your tongue does sort of tingle, but it's sweet and acidic at the same time. But all in all, it is a very nice apple. I think, yeah, I'd say I'd put that in the category of where it's quite a strong acidity that is very nice. It's actually a little bit moreish, a bit like something like a Wixon crab where it's acidic and sweet. Or Seedling 90, which is one of my seedlings. Good apple though. This is Topaz. Let's pick this one. That's terrible camera work. So Topaz is a Czech variety. It's quite sort of rugged looking. It's quite stores very well, keeps well. Very juicy, very nice juice. The flavor profile is a little bit modern and slightly sort of two-dimensional instead of three-dimensional. Not one-dimensional, but it's two. It's on the slightly acidic, juicy, pleasant side. It's not got anything particularly floral in it, but nothing in it that's bad. So it's a very nice apple. Very pretty as well. Sometimes it's very sort of orange underneath the red stripe, but the red striping is very, very nice to see. This variety is one I can't produce, but it's called Santana. Dutch, I think. Beautiful light texture. Very sweet and nice this year. There isn't much initial aroma, but the juice is exceptional. That is really nice. 40 minutes. Well done, anyone who's still listening. Listening. There was something over here I wanted to try, but I'm going to try and figure out what it was. Not there. Those are very pretty, aren't they? Orkney apple. Look at that. Not any of you. Oh, Carmine. So, I mean, Carmine's classic because it's got the russet on the apex around here. Let's pick this guy up here. Look at that apple. It's big, isn't it? It's big. So these hopefully are ripe now as well. This is a sort of after the main initial apple, the main crop of apples you get, the mid-season ones. You get things like Ashmead's Kernel and Carmine, and to some degree Captain Kidd and Rubinette that suddenly are a couple of weeks later. Carmine is one of the ones that you really wait for, because when this is fully ripe, this has probably one of the best flavours out there, and it crops well and they're big apples. I've never successfully got a Carmine seedling, unfortunately, because they don't, I don't know, there must be triploid or something, and they don't really fruit. They don't seed. They don't produce seeds when you pollinate them. I didn't sleep much last night. That flavour is like 10 out of 10 from the second you bite it, all the way through. Wow. So you can probably tell from the texture it's not exceptional. I couldn't care less. That flavour is so good. I'll eat this entire apple and all the other ones if I could, because the flavour is so good. It's got a bit of what I'd say is the best of Cox's orange pippin. It's got hints of the pear drops flavour of something like a Captain Kidd as well. It's a bit like someone's perfected flavour to some degree, and maybe because it's not acidic, so it's not like the Ashmead's. Let me try the Ashmead's Kernel against it. Oh wow, this is a competition. So Ashmead's Kernel, crispier, bizarre random fruitiness flavour, slightly more acidic. The Carmine, mellow, beautiful juice. I'd say more of an apple flavour in the Carmine, but just perfect apple flavour, in as much as what I expect an apple should be in the sort of the Cox's orange pippin world. Actually, I'll test it against Cox's orange pippin in a bit. But yeah, Carmine is, this is how you spell it. So I would recommend that to everyone. It's really good. And I'll test it against some other ones later. This is Merton Worcester. So Merton's in sort of southish London. I mean, compared to the others, it's boring, but it's sort of sweet. So this is, we tried Red Windsor earlier. So that's Alchemine. This one is, this is Alchemine, and that one is called Red Alchemine, and this one, so Red Windsor is also called Red Alchemine, and this is also known as Early Worcester, although it's not early. So I don't know who did that. I tried this yesterday, it was really good. So I'm going to try it again. Very juicy, just like the red Windsor. Very sweet, but also decent-ish flavour. Doesn't compare at all to the Carmine and the Ashmead. So racing through this bit, race. I will go on then. I'll try Winter Gem. Winter Gem has these light streaks, these light stripes going through. Let me find another one. There you go. You get a bit on this as well. Yeah, look, that's the cool. That's the classic. The Winter Gem. Look at that. So let's see how these are. Very pear flavoured. A bit dry, quite thick skin. Other than that, quite nice. The pear flavour is nice. When I mean pear flavoured, it's more like a conference that, or a commies maybe actually. Not pear drops flavour, but actual sort of slightly actual pear flavour, but not a, yeah, something like some hint of some sort of Williams or commies or something in there. Coming down to the road, so you might hear the traffic a bit more. Lovely colourful apples on the floor. So this is one of the big daddies, in my opinion. Unfortunately, all this fruit down here, I should really thin this tree. All this fruit down here, minus maybe that apple, is going to be completely useless because it's just this. I mean, this is just, and this is Rubinette. So at the top here, we've got a few really good examples of what a Rubinette should be. So look at that lovely long stalk, and it's completely round. I believe it's a Golden Delicious crossed with a Cox's Orange Pippin, and it's just one of the very best apples there is. If I ever bred anything that tasted as good as, which I think I probably can actually, very close to, but this is just such a nice apple. I think it looks sensational as well. That is unbelievable. Wow. So my latest grievance with the world, no, I've got loads, but I shouldn't say that. One of the annoying things is, one of the things that bugs me is we don't value good apples in the way that they should be valued. There are, like where I'm growing apples here, and I'm not selling apples, I'm selling apple trees, and yeah, I mean, they're sort of reasonably priced. I'm not even charging that much for them, but the apples that we can grow here in Kent are unreal, way better than anything that tastes, in terms of taste, that, can be grown. I've not been around the world trying apples, but I know that people say that we've got the best terroir for apples, but this is the heart of where people grew apples. This is where a lot of things were bred. There are going to be places in the world actually that are going to be similar to here, but this is apple country, and this apple right here something like this or the Carmine should command a very high price at market, and it just doesn't, and that really upsets me. I mean, I'm sure all farmers have this issue, and yeah, okay, so farmers obviously have to produce things that are quite mediocre flavored, that are just, it's a commodity. It's just something that you can produce loads of because basically the supermarket wants to sell it at the cheapest price so that it can sell stuff. Yeah, so fine, people would say, oh, you could go to Harrods and buy a really fancy apple. You probably can't buy anything even at Harrods that is this good. I've certainly seen videos of Japan where people are sort of buying these exceptionally high valued fruits, and that's the gimmick. That's where people have sort of just, oh, this apple this strawberry costs $100 whatever, dollars, the equivalent of dollars, so it must be amazing, but people just buy that as a gift to show off the fact that they spent that much. This apple should be very valuable, and people, should know how good it is, because that's essentially what dessert fruit was. It was someone showing off, rich guy showing off to all his rich friends at a fancy party. Look at these fancy apples that we grow and my gardener grew for the table here. And they would just eat apples like this raw. And that's what dessert was. It was literally a course of just having fresh fruit at the end of a meal. And this was like the showpiece kind of stuff. And it's just not done anymore. And people are like, oh, apples, boring. And, they want strawberries. And these apples are so good. And it's a shame. And it is, it's a short window as well. Because, yes, you can store these apples. But they go downhill. Trust me. I know my apples. And right now, this is something that, for the next few weeks I can eat this, and then I'll wait another year. And I genuinely will wait another year to try this again. But this is sensational, and there should be apple tourism. I'm gonna say it. Like, people should travel to. I mean, there aren't farms. People did travel to come and see me, but people should travel to try apples like this, because this is something that you would remember for the rest of your life if you ate these apples. And yes, it could probably take off, all these things, and people travel to go try like the best burrito or the best cheeseburger or something. This is better than anything anyone could cook by a mile. Like, no chef in the world could come and create something that tastes as good as this, or the Carmine, or the Ashmead's Kernel, or like a Norfolk Royal Russet. They just can't. These things grow on trees. Like, we should just. Anyway, that's my little grievance. Sorry for putting you through that, but I'm sure if you're watching this, you agree. Anyway, the world. Let's try Captain Kidd. I am a jolly fellow. It's just, yeah. I'm staggered that apples aren't sort of seen as more. There's a bit of muscle scale in these. These are like little limpet things. They come off. I should probably try and take care of them. This is Captain Kidd. So this is a very nice apple. It has pear drops flavour. Texture can go downhill. I'm trying to breed with it because the pear drops flavour is very nice, and I think it looks lovely. So that has got the pear drops flavour. Bang. Other than that, it's a little bit like a Red Delicious, because it is bred from Red Delicious. So skin is thick. There is no sort of secondary flavour, but the pear drops is really good. So maybe I shouldn't have been breeding with it, because it's got all those rubbish characters, but add something good in. That'd be really, really good. I like this apple as well. This is Francis. Teeny little cute things. Look at that. Looky, 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 looky. That's very pretty. Quite refreshing, wow. Not quite lychee. Some sort of sweet fruit. Like elderflower or something. Very nice. Very summery flavoured apple. Holstein's pretty much finished. This is a Holstein with mud on for extra flavour. So that's going to be a bit soft. Holstein's very nice. I always go back to this tree and tell people to buy one. It's quite a reliable newish variety. It's called Nouveau Golden Hills. That's what happens when you. Oops. Wow. There you go. Doesn't want to come off the tree. So it's quite a ghostly pale apple. This doesn't look particularly handsome, to be honest, right now. I've picked all the handsome ones off, hence why it's all missing. Gave them away because I'm a nice guy. But yeah, this is a very nice apple. It's very reliable, consistent crop. Doesn't do that thing where some of them aren't as good as others. It's just a nice crisp flavour. There's nothing off about it. It's quite polite. It can obviously bruise quite easily because it's so pale. Yeah, good apple. Freckles has done well this year. Freckles, okay, I think they're getting a bit soft actually. Nice sweet apple. So this is the apple that I breed with a lot. I'm giving away all my secrets because, oh, look at that. When the leaf is on the apple. Ah, well done. So yeah, I don't really, I don't mind if people breed with the same stuff as me, because at the end of the day, the more good new varieties there are, the better. So yeah, go out there and breed apples. Come on, you can outdo me. It's just luck basically at the end of the day, and patience. But yeah, this is Riker. Some years not exceptional. Lovely splash or star of russet in the cavity. Lovely texture. It's light, very juicy. It's a bit like the Hamid's Red Pippin in terms of the flavour. So the Hamid's is nicer, but the juiciness on this is very, very good. It's not even the best apple. I just happened to start breeding with it because it's supposed to be quite disease resistant, and then the mother tree is riddled with canker, so good job there. Yeah, we'll go up there in a sec. Yeah, I'm going to add a few seedlings in here really quick, so I'm just going to pause the video. So here we are. Pardon me. Here we are in the seedlings. I'm not going to do all the seedlings. This seedling's made a bit of a splash on the internet. This is seedling 13. So Rob Smith, sadly not Robert Smith from The Cure, but Rob Smith, I sent him some apples to try, and he did a video. He's got Rob's Allotment, I think it's called Rob's Allotment on Instagram. So he tried this. He really liked this. Oh yeah, it's good and soft. Well, yeah, seedling 13 was really good this year. It has gone soft, but well, yeah. I'm not doing all the seedlings today. A lot of them have actually been named this year, so they will start getting released in the next few years. This is the one that my mother-in-law is going to name at some stage. This is seedling 24, which might be ripe almost. This one's gone a bit moldy, so I'm going to try it. Lovely pear drop flavour to that. Not quite ready. 27 will be named at some stage. This is a lovely apple. 39 down here was really good, but that's finished. Really, really nice apple, 39. So my friends Chris and Mary are going to name that one. If you're one of my friends, you get an apple. That's the Hamid's Red Pippin tree. That's the original Hamid's Red Pippin tree. So there, that one overfruited sadly. Silly old me. This is seedling 79, which will be named and sold very soon. It's a very, very nice apple, quite pretty. This bad girl, this one is actually Primrose Pippin, so I could try one if I can find one that's ever so slightly damaged and needs to be picked up. Actually, that one's fallen off the tree. Let's try Primrose Pippin. So I tried one the other day and it already showed signs of its exceptional qualities in terms of sugar, and even though it wasn't ripe, it showed signs that it was actually quite a sweet apple and was extremely nice and crisp in terms of the texture, which is always encouraging. Actually, there's loads on the floor here. Not loads, there's two. That one looks maybe better. It's a little bit soft. Let's try that. Yeah, not quite ripe. Lovely crisp texture in a way that's just very pleasant because it's light. Well, it's light enough, but it's very crisp at the same time. So it's the kind of thing that you really like because it sort of explodes in your mouth, as opposed to being something that's too dense. Let me try this one as well. Yeah, so this one's better. This one was more ripe, actually. In terms of the sweetness as well, it's got acidity with it. I'm very excited because there's big crop this year. They've gone very red, which they don't. I mean, this branch, I should have thinned this branch. So I've actually tied the branch in because it's come from all the way over there. Actually, the end of it actually snapped off. This bit snapped off. So these are slowly dying. But yeah, it's going to be a really good apple. So there are still Primrose Pippin trees to buy. I honestly think it will please literally 90-something% of the apple audience out there. Some people prefer something a bit quirky, or they just prefer crisp apples. They don't like crisp they don't like crisp apples. If you at all like, if you want something that's going to be both sweet and crisp, but not, but in a good way, both in a good way, this is literally this is the apple that you've been waiting for, basically, because it is, it's basically, if someone calls an apple golden delicious, I know this is no longer very golden, but all these names like honeycrisp, golden delicious, this one actually fits the bill. This is like calling yourself, if you call yourself golden delicious or something, you better be golden and delicious. If you call yourself golden crispy crunch or something, I don't know what these, I'm not gonna, obviously I've called it Primrose Pippin, not some silly like commercial name, but marketing name. But yeah, it fits the bill big time, big time. So Primrose Pippin is available to those in the UK if they want to buy a tree from the website. You really should. Won't be disappointed. This apple here is seedling 90, and it is, I think it's getting too ripe. I should have picked this. This is a very bizarre apple in that it tastes very acidic. Woo-wee. Sorry about this drilling, guy. Very acidic, but it's actually very sweet. Now, it's the second year I've tried this. I have to say, sadly, the texture isn't amazing. It sort of deteriorates a little bit, but still interesting. I think this will be someone's favourite apple. So this was in terms of the sugar content, this one had the highest sugar content of anything in the nursery last year, which is, 19% bricks is off the scale for here, because let's say a Gala is 11%. Most russets are sort of looking at 15. Most other apples are sort of 12, 13, maybe the odd 14. But yeah, seedling 90. Sorry, I keep burping. Windy pops. Seedling 90 was good. Whew. But yeah, this will come out at some stage. I'll name this. So back to the trees. Let's race through. This is Ruckler. I really like Ruckler, and I dare say it looks suspiciously like Hamid's Red Pippin as well. And this is where the Riker tree was. So I reckon there's a chance this might have been the daddy, but DNA testing shows it was probably Discovery. In terms of texture and flavour as well, this is much more like it, but Ruckler's good. Quickly moving on up, we've got one of my favourite apples here. Up here. This is Norfolk Royal Russet. Let's pick a good one. Actually, let's just pick this one. It's got a hole in it. Beautiful apple. It's got all sorts going on. Very interesting to look at. Nice small size. Lovely shape to it as well. Conical shape. the experience of eating this is always slightly surprising and never disappointing for me. It's light, ever so slightly sort of spongy, chewy, which I like because it's crisp, but it in a way that, you know, pears, when they're buttery and soft and they melt in your mouth, you really like that. You initially think, well, why would I like that? It's just an enjoyable experience. This is a very enjoyable experience to eat this apple. In terms of flavour, it's very sweet and it has a sort of fruity flavour to it. Hard to describe, but like I said earlier, a chef can't produce this. This is unbelievable. Very juicy as well. You probably saw juice all over the face there. Good apple. This is Horsham Russet. A bit like the Norfolk Royal Russet in that it's basically a light russet over other colours. You can see the stripes. I think this one's acidic. Oh boy, but it's rich in terms of the flavour. But acidic as well. I think it could ripen a little bit more. Great apple. Gosh, it's over an hour already. I need to do some real work today. This is, look at that little pool of water. That's when you know that your cavity is deep. When you've got a little, you can drink out of it. It's a drinking vessel. This is Rubinola, lovely Czech variety. I need to pick these because they're getting slightly overripe. Basically losing their acidity. It's a nice big apple. It has a weird funky flavour to it sometimes, in that I think that comes out when it over ripens a little bit in terms of the acidity dropping. But very, very nice apple, very crisp. You could leave this out for a whole week and it won't go brown, which is quite cool. Where is Brownlee's Russet? Have I passed it already? I have, it's right there. Let's try you. Brownlee's Russet. So, doesn't really look like much. It's a good apple though. I don't know if it's going to be ripe yet. Good flavour on it. A lovely fruity flavour. Maybe it's not quite ripe. Yeah, maybe not quite ripe. That is a very nice apple, Brownlee's Russet. I think next we'll try, is it Golden Knob somewhere around here? Yeah, Golden Knob is here. These are really pretty apple. This is Colonel Yates. Look at these. Such pretty apples. So this is Golden Knob. Hilarious name. That is a funky flavour. I suppose in terms of flavour, similar to Pitmaster Pineapple, its texture is better in that it's crisp. It hangs around later. Let's just call this the late cousin of Pitmaster Pineapple. This is a very nice russet. This is the Herefordshire Russet. So lovely shape to it. I mean, it looks better than an Egremont Russet. It's one of the better selling russets. Lovely fruity flavour, but it's also very juicy. So you just drink in the juice. It's a sensational apple, this, to be honest. This is really, really nice. Hasn't got much acidity to it. So I think it's very pleasing. I suppose it's similar to, I guess it is actually quite similar to the Norfolk Royal Russet. This isn't as memorable an experience each time to eat, but this is actually very, very good. because it is very juicy, and the juice is almost perfect, I'd say. It's got a subtle hintness of acidity. That is really good. Herefordshire russet. This apple's not looking as good as it should do, but that will be called Lulu and will be sold soon. That's named after Elizabeth Dowell, the famous artist. Let's keep going. There's not many more to try anymore. And it didn't really rain on me, which is great. And I'm full of apples now, which is great. And I'm burping loads. This is Temptation. I don't sell this one either. I think there's plant breeders' rights on it, to be honest. Nice apple. The flavour is nice. It's a sort of sweet honeyed flavour. Again, sort of like what you wish Golden Delicious was. Hangs around a long time. This apple here is really good, and I like forcing this onto people because it's a lovely late season apple. Nouveau Cheerful Gold. It hangs around on the tree into December whilst I'm working. I pick loads of these. It keeps its acidity, it keeps its crispness, it keeps all of its flavour. Even when it starts getting really cold, it's just good. And there aren't many apples that do that. It's such a valuable asset to have in a small orchard, because right now there's loads of apples to eat. Like I said about the Hamid's Red Pippin, great. There's another great apple for the sort of middle of the season. So what, there were already loads of good apples. I've got 700 named varieties in the nursery. Yeah, I've got over 2,000 seedlings that sort of over the years I've got 200 seeds alone this year that I'm going to try and grow them all. I'll take it up to 4,000, but okay, there's a lot of apples ripe in sort of September, October time. Do we need, mid-September to sort of mid-late October, do we need more? I mean, yes, but like I said already, I mean, if they're exceptional like a Carmine or exceptional like a Rubinet, of course, but if they're not, do we Hamid's Red Pippin's not as good as a Rubinet, but do we need more apples that are ripe in late November and through December, and sometimes hanging on until January, February if we don't have frost? Yes, we do. Things that hold on to their acidity and texture and flavour, because you don't necessarily want to store apples, because they'll degrade faster in storage than some do on the tree, and some in storage anyway their flavours will change. These ones on the tree, you can still go out in December, you can go out on Christmas Day and pick apples. That's unbelievable. In the same way, if you can pick apples in early August that are really good, that's the other type of breeding that I'm trying to sort of do. That's a huge asset. So yeah, back to Cheerful Gold. It's a really good apple, because there's one that exists which has been bred relatively recently it's there whilst everything else is gone. You should think about that when you buy trees and plant them. Just chuck in something like that, in the same way that you chuck in a cooker. Chuck in one of these or something else that's late. You have fruit that's quite late, that's handy. It's not quite ripe. We can tell it's a good apple. Tiny bit starchy, but it will be good. Oh, I didn't try William Crump. Oh, that's good. So this is one apple that I've been picking loads of this year. Again, it looks very similar to the Norfolk Royal Russet. Again, it's a lovely eating experience as well. I don't think that one's actually not ripe. Oh, this one's got spiders and earwigs, so you know it's good. This is, I think, a lovely looking apple, and it's called Brooks. Sorry, I should have said this is Brooks. Lovely, lovely sweet flavour. Similar to the Norfolk Royal Russet in that it's a sort of lighter, ever so slightly something soft about the texture, but it's very, very nice to eat. Maybe slightly more, it is definitely slightly more acidic, not overall as memorable an eating experience, but it's got that complexity of a russet, that fruitiness. Very nice apple, Brooks. There's another one that looks very similar, and it's weird how the apples that look similar all taste in some way similar and are high quality. And that one is where is it? That's the Glocken apple. The Glocken apple. Look at that, lovely looking thing. Look at that one. Oof. That's Braintree seedling, which we're coming up to in a second. Here it is, Braintree seedling. So a nice Braintree seedling. Yeah, I'm going to pick this one. So it's got that lovely, almost completely russeted look to it. All patchy, very interesting. That wasn't a good one. I'm going to pick that one. That one looks good. Yeah, look at this one. This one looks way better. This is much more punchy. This is more acidic. But yeah, it's a really, really good apple. Really full of flavour. Stunning. I'm starting to get bored of apples. I'm starting to run out of things to say about them. I reckon there's only a few more to try, and then we are donesies. Look at this funny looking thing. This is Cortland. Look at that. It's like camouflage. Although it's not, but it's trying to be. It's all blotchy. Yeah, a few more. We could look at Flame. That's an apple called Flame. That's a lovely name for an apple. Very descriptive, and it is probably one of the most flamey looking apples that I've ever seen. This is Bramley. Everyone knows Bramley. That's when it goes red. People usually see Bramley when it looks more like this. So it's more green with a bit of red, or even it's just completely green, to be honest. That's how people know it. People know this one. This is Red Delicious. Not a amazing apple, but famous nonetheless. Trees are looking good. Those are for sale. No, those are rootstocks. Those ones are for sale. There are a few more to try, I believe. What's this one? Oh no, that's Merton Russet. Is that going to be good yet? I don't think it's ready.